whether you choose to play the game of life or not, you're playing the game. You can either allow everybody around you to make decisions.
But at the end of the day, it's still your game. It doesn't necessarily affect them. It always affects you.
Or you can actually step forward and make the decisions yourself, and you can take control of your game.
Knowing that, it's like you have to be like at the wheel at all times.
Get on my motherfucking face.
Please. Push the goddamn button. Yeah, action.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Grae Area Podcast.
Yeah.
I'm Shakoya D.
Bad man breathing in ear.
It's your boy Damani.
And welcome to another episode of the Grae Area Podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome. If this is not your first time here, welcome back. This is a podcast where we like to break down the fabrics of life because not everything is always black and white. We talk about regular life from a creator's perspective, which in layman's terms means that we talk about whatever we feel like talking about. It could be love, it could be life, it could be music, it could be movies, it could be food, it could be anything or nothing at all. We have interesting conversations and we love to bring you guys in on them and hopefully inspire you to start your own. How are you guys today?
I'm good. Good.
Magnificent. How about yourself?
I'm doing swell. It's been an interesting day. To say the least, it has been an interesting day, but a great one. Oh, also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. What we talking about today?
Today we are talking about choosing the game that you want to play. So, to give you a little context, they say life is a game. We all listened to a book called
The Game of Life and How to Play It.
The Game of Life and How to Play It. Rewind a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, but to make it a better story, a couple weeks ago we was talking. And I said I haven't chosen the game that I want to play yet. Damani interjected and said, I think you have. And I was like, alright, let's rewind that. I haven't fully accepted that this is the game that I want to play. So essentially, our life is what we make it. Today, how we are today, what life looks like for us today is a direct reflection of, or direct result of the game that we chose to play previously. So now, we are choosing to take it upon ourselves to play another game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're doing now. Well, that's what we're talking about now.
Do you feel like you... Okay, so before, you already said that you feel like you haven't accepted the game that you wanted to play.
You've
accepted it now, but like before, during that conversation,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel like you've chosen the game that you wanted to play?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for a minute I didn't always like all of the rules of the game that I was playing, but I think I've definitely chosen the game I want to play. Go ahead though.
I for me personally, I think that there was a time where I didn't choose, so it was chosen for me. But I guess not choosing is also choosing. So I chose to play a game that I wasn't necessarily interested in, but I thought would make my parents proud. So yeah, I think that now I have officially chosen the game that I want to play. So going into that, what game are you playing?
I would rather not say.
That man about to be gambling. That man at the blackjack table.
Gambling.
That man said, hit me.
Well, just to backtrack, okay, we read this book. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It, right? And you always hear people talk about how life is just a game or this is a simulation, different things like that. but really, it kind of broke down the ideas of, I guess, like the laws of the universe, and the laws of attraction and of manifestation, but not only that, of karma and of different things like that, and how to, I guess, truly live life in the way that you want to live it. I don't even fully know how to explain this book, if I'm being completely honest, because it's that, but it's also more than that. Yeah. Feel free to jump in if you guys want to jump in.
I was gonna say, I think you did a good job of describing it. I think it reframes how we look at life in general, right?
Yeah.
So I know I've heard people say life is a battle, life is a movie. It's like, nah, life is in a lot of ways. I mean, I think it's so much so a game that if you whatever you decide for it to be, that's what your life is gonna be. So if you decide your life is gonna be filled with hassle, that nothing's ever gonna go your way, that it takes a lot to make money, all these other things, that's exactly what you're gonna get, and you're gonna end up playing by those rules, and everything is gonna kind of confirm that for you. If on the flip side, this is what I chose for myself, I'm like, listen, money comes to me easily. I'm doing things according to my creativity. I'm getting paid for things that I love to do, all of this stuff, right? Then I get evidence of that, and I have to play by those rules. You just have to be, I think, aware of, like, when you're playing I think you have to be aware of how you're playing the game more so than anything. So, like, a lot of the stuff is like, it's mental. Like a lot of the game is mental. I mean, in life, it's they always say everything is like what 90% mental, 10% whatever action, whatever it is.
That's not it. It's like 80% mental is what I'm thinking. Singing.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, what? Anyway,
what life you live?
Yeah, that's the game you talking about. It's a different game, but yeah. So I think just us being aware of what kind of game we're playing, and like if you don't like the game you're playing, just play a different game. It sounds very simple. I know it's not always the easiest thing to do, but it's very simple.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I feel like a lot of lives are unenjoyable, or a lot of people, including myself, aren't where they would have liked to be or thought they would be at this time, because we don't really understand or realize how powerful our minds actually are. And even when it comes to choosing the game that you want to play, once you choose what game you want to play, to take it one step further, at the end of the day, you make up the rules. So even like if you think about like the rich and wealthy people, like that's materially rich or financially rich, or abundant. They make up their own rules and then make laws to protect their rules. So it's like at the end of the day, you make up the game and you make up the rules. It's like a kid. So like if when adults play games with kids, the kids make up the rule in a way that the kid thinks they can't lose. So it's the same. Essentially, it's the same.
Yeah. And I feel like to break it down even further, is like looking at the idea of life as a game. It is more so like what happens in your life is dictated by, it's dictated by the things that you think about. It's also dictated by the things that you do. Even just like the way that you treat yourself or you treat others and different things like that. So like it's so many elements within your world that make up, I guess, your outcome. It's like your decisions today are going to determine what happens tomorrow, essentially. So a lot of times what is occurring is, I guess, a result of a culmination of decisions, Whether it be like maybe, all right, you decided not to tie your shoe 5 minutes ago, or you decided not to make up your bed this morning, and like, I don't know, in some ways you see certain results from those things, or maybe you just didn't make a decision. I know for me, a lot of times I wasn't really making decisions about things. So like even after reading that book, like I pray differently. I pray even more differently than I had already started praying differently. Because I made certain decisions. So now when I'm talking to God about certain things, I'm talking about specifics. Or I'm talking about it in reference to like, hey, I made the decision to go after this goal. So like, hey, like, tell me what to do. Versus before it was like, hey, I have some possible goals here. Not sure which one to pick, but lead the way. And it's just like a thing where, I think that either it's like whether you choose to play the game of life or not, you're playing the game, right? And essentially, you can either allow everybody around you to make decisions and or like decisions to be made for you, and that'll show up in your game, or you can actually step forward and make the decisions yourself, and you can take control of your game. You could be player 1, or you could be player 2.
I think the irony of it all is, I think it's almost like if you're playing if you're literally playing a game, right? You can be, like you said, player 1. You could be active in the game, or you could put the controller down, but the game is still gonna be running. So like somebody smacks you in the game, you like. It's like, I mean, it kind of happens. It's like, I mean, you could have moved,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Or you can give somebody else the controller, and it's like they can dictate everything for you. But at the end of the day, it's still your game. It's still in your. It's still in your save history.
It's
right?
on your memory card.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't necessarily affect them. It always affects you. So it's just knowing that it's like you have to be like at the wheel at all times, which for how we grew up wasn't always rewarded for us to like make, or we weren't always allowed to make the decisions like for ourselves, and like understanding like, no, you have to do something in order for you to change something. Was like one of the biggest like revelations from reading the book. Also, I was gonna say, I think school doesn't give you it doesn't reward you for what was the point? It doesn't reward you for making your own rules. So like, I know we were talking about like, oh, like you got to make your own rules. In life rewards you for making your own rules, but like school and most jobs don't reward you for making up your own rules. You have to follow the rules, because if you don't, then there's either a punishment or like stuff goes wrong or whatever. But in real life, it's like if you make up your own rules and it works, nobody's gonna be mad at you because it worked. People are only gonna be mad at you when stuff doesn't work.
Yeah.
Two things. One, it was to what you said, you weren't being something about making decisions, but it's neither here nor there. For me, I wasn't being intentional. So like I was doing stuff, but I wasn't doing things intentionally. So even when I was at like I would go to places, probably just to say that I went there, or I was there, or I did this, I'm doing stuff, but I didn't have the intentions. I didn't have the right intentions going into it. Even going places and not having anything to offer in that moment. So at those times, I probably should have stayed home and worked on things to offer, worked on my offers, worked on me adding value to this room that I'm about to go to, or that I would like to be in. And another thing I was thinking about earlier, I was driving, Nova in the back, hanging out the window, see somebody walk past, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to live my life like a dog. Like, I want people to perceive my life as like they do dogs. people aren't really lukewarm with dogs. Either you like dogs or you don't like dogs. That's how I want them to look at my life. Either you like me and how I'm moving, or you don't like me and how I'm moving. I don't really want in between, because things get misconstrued, and mixed up, jumbled when you playing the fence. So yeah, either you on the left side or you on the right side.
Yeah. I was gonna say we still got time.
We do.
Yeah.
That's why I barked. I'm gonna get that cut out.
That's definitely gonna be in there. But I was gonna say something that helps with that, making sure that like people aren't lukewarm with you, is that you have to show up as your 100%, like 100% your genuine self, like almost like not even almost overly yourself, but like literally being yourself in every way, so that as soon as people meet you, they don't like they have to choose whether or not they mess with you. Otherwise, it's like if you're not really being yourself, people can kind of like, all right, I don't really know if I like them. It's like, nah, let's do this. Let's be aggressively me, so that I can weed out who's really for me and who is never gonna be here anyway.
Yeah. To what you were saying about being aggressively you, that's something when I had got Kev on stage's masterclass, he talked about being aggressively genuine, like in your content and just like in your life and all of that stuff. And I really think that you're right. I never thought about it like that, of like that's how you tell who's for you and who's not for you. I also think that, like you were saying, how school doesn't necessarily give you the tools to make decisions. I think growing up in general, typically, at least how we grew up, our parents was making the decisions, like all of the decisions for us, like what's for dinner, where we going, what time we going to be there, if we going to church or not. I mean, to a certain point, your parents decide what you're wearing to school for you. Like, they pick out your clothes. I don't know if you had that experience, but my clothes was laid out for at least 5 years of my life. But back to what I was saying.
And I was gonna say, just it's for good reason, because if you let a 5-year-old decide every day what they're gonna eat for dinner,
like Mr. Deeds.
It's McDonald's,
ketchup packets.
Yeah, it's McDonald's and ice cream. That's what it's going. And if you let them pick the fit every day, they go into school in pajamas every day.
You're right.
So it's for
not
good
even
reason.
just pajamas, but like costumes and all of that
underwear
stuff.
outside the pants.
Yeah, exactly. Captain Underpants with it.
But not to say that it was a bad thing, but depending on like how you grew up at a certain point, like depending on how you grew up, sometimes people making decisions for you didn't necessarily stop until you went to college, or if you didn't go to college, like until you graduated high school, just in general or whatever. You lived on your own, however you want to look at it. It depends on customs, culture, how you grew up. But what I was gonna say was because of that, I think that in a lot of ways, not all of us, because we're so busy trying to make whatever the right decision is, our thought is not that being genuinely ourselves is the right decision. Like the thought is, well, if I'm going to make the right decision, the rest of the people are doing this. Maybe I should do this, or maybe I should try to stand out on the complete opposite end, or maybe I should kind of merge the two. But the thought doesn't go to, you know what, I should just show up as myself and see what happens. Like, that's not usually how the thought process goes, I think, for most people when they're growing up. So then when you get older, because also like you trying to assimilate, if you want get a job, you're trying to follow their rules, you got to look a certain way, you got to act a certain way. That's what they say. But if you come to Atlanta, you see you don't have to look or act a certain way.
I was just going to say, to that point of, I guess, assimilating and not aggressively being yourself, if we sticking on the angle of growing up, a lot of people who are being themselves, they get picked on and talked about when they are being themselves.
Yes.
Or it's not received well when they being themselves. Even with that, Just a side note to that. Just because you being yourself, sometimes it's not good. But you should always be yourself. If you understand that, you understand that. If you don't, then I'm talking to you. But and as humans, like, we want to fit in. Like, we want to be part of a group, part of some type of community, collective, whatever. So if I see that me being myself isn't received well, it makes sense for me to shift my behavior so I can be accepted. I haven't had that experience. Okay, I had that experience, but it wasn't with outsiders. It's always the family. Like, if you be yourself around the family and they pick on you, the outsiders will love you. So just keep being yourself.
Oh my gosh. They will. It's wild. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
And yeah, so I've always been accepted wherever I was because I was always myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
For the most part. But my guards be up.
Yeah.
But it's me.
Them guards be guarding. No.
It's me.
You're like, oh. You was about to say something?
I can't remember.
I was gonna say, I know for me personally, not that I was like necessarily picked on, but I do recognize now. I realized I would say maybe like a few months ago that I actually used to kind of, for a long time I watered down my personality, like certain aspects.
Add water? Don't add water to the spice.
Certain aspects in certain ways. I don't know when it started, but just like based off of, I don't know, you go through experiences, somebody says something, you're like, oh, okay, I guess that's not how people, or that's not how people act, or that wasn't received well. So then you just naturally, like, me putting up an extra wall was also me, like, all right, watering down that portion. Like, okay, don't do as much of that type of thing, is what I realized. But for going back to actually, like, choosing what game you want to play, even in the I guess the idea or the concept of being genuinely you or aggressively you, however you want to put it, that is also a version of the game that you can choose, because other people sometimes choose to be completely different people that are not, like, that is not them at all, but they decide to put on a facade. And I know we talked about that last week, I feel like, when we were talking about perspectives and stuff like that. But that is also, I think, choosing what type of game you want to play. Do you want to play, like, you choosing your character? Like, which character you want to play with? You want to play with yourself, or you want to play, I almost said Lil Ray Ray. Oh, wow. Okay.
That up.
Yeah.
All right, backtrack.
As yourself.
Do you want to play this game as yourself? Or do you want to play it as
someone else?
A different character.
Yeah. Sheesh.
Sorry.
It's all right. No, that just woo. That went left very quickly.
Can't say nothing. Oh, never mind. I take that back. I can say everything I want to in this house because I live in abundance. All right. Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you. All right.
I was gonna say, I think the default for most people is to act like you're a different person, because it's a lot easier to be it's a lot more well received to be somebody else, because, like, when you stand out, people don't like you. There's people that are naturally just not gonna like you, and people don't like to not be liked. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's like, if everybody was more of themselves, even if you trash as an individual, not saying anybody's trash, but in the event that you trash, you know you trash. But if all of y'all were together, if you were trash, you could be trash with other trash people, and you could have a group
trash can.
Yeah, just a group of trash individuals together. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The dumpster den or something. I don't know, whatever it is, right? And you could actually find your tribe of people who are like you, but because you don't, you end up in spaces where people don't like you, and you're not even being yourself. So, like, if people not gonna like me, and
It's like they
and I'm
don't like
acting,
you, and I don't even want to be.
Yeah, it's like I don't like. Why? At the very least, I'm gonna be myself, and if you don't like me, okay, that's cool. But like doing the acting, because it's like, if I think it might even be worse if people like you and you don't like the character that you're being, because it's like, dang, I chose to play this game, but I don't like people like me for this. I have to continue playing this game. I can't ever stop, and it's like, nah, that's corny.
But
that sounds exhausting.
I feel like that is because a lot of times it's looked at as wrong to change or daunting to start over. So it's like they make it seem like it's just some big monster, and it's like, nah, I just don't want to do this anymore. So I was thinking about like the games that I were playing. Is that correct? Yeah. Grammatically correct? The games
I were playing.
Oh
no, it's was.
The
games I was playing.
Like,
games and was, because games is plural.
Yeah, but I is singular.
And I is the subject. The games that I was playing. That don't sound right.
That's how you say it.
The games that I were playing. The games that I was playing, like in the past tense, the games that I was playing.
Welcome to the Grae Area.
I still don't think that. It's something I'm about to change the sentence because I don't like it.
Or the games that I played in the past.
Yeah, the previous games that I played. I wanted to try these games, and I enjoyed these games. But again, it was like so difficult of a thing. Not even difficult of a thing, but everything wasn't welcome. So it was kind of difficult to deviate from these games that I'm playing, and I'm enjoying these games. But deep inside, I know that I want to do something else, but I don't know how this other game is going to be perceived. So I will continue to play this game rather than exploring more games and seeing where I'm actually supposed to be at. But I was exactly where I was supposed to be at. But if I would have tried another game, I would have been somewhere else. And I probably would have been supposed to be there too. Would have been another timeline probably.
Are we talking about career paths? You said game so many times.
I wasn't talking about career paths, but it could lead to career paths.
Okay. Yeah.
So my example was like sports.
Okay. Got it.
So I started off playing soccer.
All
right?
right, cool.
Soccer. I loved soccer.
I'm with you.
Love soccer. But my friends was playing basketball. So I was like, I want to, and I played basketball a couple times. I was like, I want to play basketball. And I loved basketball. Right? But I always then I got older. And I was still playing. I stopped playing soccer, but I was still playing basketball. Then I started running track.
Right.
And then I wanted to go to school for fashion, right? But I didn't go.
Right.
And I took a safer route and did marketing.
You took a very safe route. It was
like, let me go to marketing. I got a scholarship here. We could you can make that make sense. Well, I was able to make that make sense to my environment. So me not even looking at myself as being known as the fashion guy. I mean, I could dress, I always look good, I'm handsome. You know, I can make never mind.
Thank you.
I didn't know where this man was about to go. So I could make a cow jump out their skin. That's like, what? That's what I thought you were gonna say, something wild like that off the wall, but
nah. But back to my example, fashion guy. So I played it safe. I could make this make sense to my environment instead of trying out the thing that I actually wanted to test out.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. So to go back to your question of what game am I playing? I'm playing a creative game. It may have some more details in the future, but right now I'm just allowing myself to be as creative as possible and actually step into the creativity that I've always longed for.
longed for. What game you playing?
I thought I said mine earlier, but
Wait.
it's all right. Similar. I mean, mine is a very creative game. Mine is a. I did. I was talking about a game of abundance, and I had said it earlier.
Yes, you did.
Come on,
stop
lying on my name like that. Go ahead.
I asked a different question, but he answered this one.
Yeah, I did. But it's cool. Yeah, now my game is it's a game of creativity. It's a game of giving as well. Cause like I think
I hear this game.
I'm expounding on it. I didn't say the rest of it last time. But yeah, it's a game of creativity. I think it's a game of giving, and it's like seeing how much I can give. Like of myself to the to the creation process, or like how much am I giving myself like to God, like just in different aspects, like how much of me am I giving, because I feel like I don't necessarily give all of myself all the time, and I just want to see what that looks like. So like the new game that I'm testing out is me giving more.
Okay.
What game you playing?
Who, me? Say no.
Yes, you.
Couldn't be.
And who?
I would say also I am playing a game of creativity because you guys said it, so I'm gonna say it too.
Boo, get your own answer.
So, I feel like the game that I am currently playing is the one of how bright can I shine my light. In the past, like I said, I have watered down aspects. I've dimmed my light for a long time, and part of it is like the wanting to fit in thing. Part of it is like, okay, this wasn't necessarily accepted or received in a particular way, and then some of it was imposter syndrome. So for me, the game that I'm literally playing right now is like, how bright can I shine my light, and also what does that mean or look like for me. So a part of it has been learning to be more vulnerable, learning to ask for help, but also just allowing myself to create and not putting limitations on the things that I create, or even like the visions that I have or the things that I decide that I want. So I think that so far I'm having fun with this game, but it has been challenging. I think the game that I used to play was let's see what happens.
That's a wild game. For everything, that's a wild game.
That's like living your life with your eyes closed and holding your breath.
That's basically what I was doing. I was so scared to like really do stuff, or I felt like stuff had to be perfect before I could actually make a move. But now it's like, well, I'm gonna just do this, and if somebody like it, they like it. If they don't like it, they don't like it. But I'm still gonna do it. And I'm also in a space where I'm not trying to, I guess, box it up so that people who aren't meant to understand it. I'm gonna just do what I do, and if it's for you, you'll get it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny hearing it back. Like, hey, we'll see what happens. I know I know that like it sounds funny, but it's like in actuality, it's like you decide I'm gonna leave the house and I'm not gonna open my eyes. I'm just gonna run.
Yeah, with
and
my
it's
eyes
like,
closed.
It's like you don't know where you have no direction. I'm just, wherever God take me, I'm closing my eyes and I'm running.
But it was like I closed my eyes.
Ran into a gate.
Yeah. God told me to open my eyes, and I just was like, no, you got it.
The wild thing is, when I used to high jump, I used to close my eyes.
That's different. You practice though.
But
like,
I should have had my eyes.
Hold on. Let's rewind. Your eyes was closed from the beginning to the end.
Oh nah, like once I jumped, like once I was off the ground, and over, like my head was like when I put my head back, my eyes was closed.
Oh, I mean that's understandable. You know, that's not like in my head. I'm thinking you going, you about to mess around and run right into the pole, like fall over and hit the pole. Like my goodness.
I was just going to say,
what are you doing? Breathe. Open your eyes. My bad. You're on the wrong field. God,
He
man.
over there running, they throwing the shot puts.
Come on, you about to get hit with a discus, man. God.
That's
He
wild.
just happened to be running while they doing the javelin toss. Like, I didn't even know they did that here. What was you about to say?
It was just about being intentional. So it's a more intentional game of creativity, and with that, putting myself in position to even succeed. Like, so now, because I was with you with the, we're gonna see what happens. I mean, I did this,
Well, we gonna
but
see what happens.
I mean, I wasn't putting my all into it. Like you were saying, like giving your all. Like I just do enough so it could look, but yeah, just being more intentional, actually putting myself in position to receive the things that I'm actually working toward. And a lot of stuff is really not as difficult as we make it seem. At least for me, I just be holding myself back. Imposter syndrome played a huge part, and just, I guess, not being able, wanting to be able to explain what it is that I'm doing, but now knowing that I don't have to explain it, because a lot of people still aren't going to get it or understand, and it's not for people to understand. People are only supposed to see the end result. Only the people that have something to do with what it is that you're doing are the ones that you should explain it to. Everybody else don't need to know what's going on until it's done.
I was gonna say the biggest realization that I had about that was like, it's not even up to us to explain, especially when it comes to art. It's not even really up to us to explain what it is, like, because when you look at it or when you listen to it or whatever, it's supposed to make you feel a certain way. Whatever intention I had when I made it really doesn't matter. And like, the other thing is, you can only understand something in hindsight. So like, when you're making it, you may not even understand why you're making it in the way that you're making it. So like, the explanation part is so different from when you're making the thing.
Yeah, so when it's done.
Yeah. So like, when it's done, it's like, all right, well, I can do my best to explain what was going through my head when I was making it, but what does it make you feel? What do you think it means? Because to be honest, that's actually more important than what it actually is. Because like, I can make this thing, and I'm thinking like it was something that was just childish, and you can look at it and be like, wow, this means everything to me. So it's like, it's not really even up to us to explain what it means. I think in terms of the game we're playing, like, the game is, let's just do the thing and not just see what happens, but like, see what everyone else thinks it means, and see what you think it means.
I think like, even a step further, so we not just seeing what happens, but it's like an intention of, I did this, like, for me, I did this for a specific reason. This may have a different effect on you. So like, even earlier when I came back, I was working on cover art for Miami Moon, right? I forgot that the cover arts, they gonna be regular, and I'm doing paintings for each single and each EP or album, or album, not even or. Each single, each album, and each EP will get its own painting. But that's another time for another day. But so then, yeah, I was working on that, and then I started going somewhere else. Midway through, I was like, I'm not even supposed to be doing this right now. It's just supposed to be something simple, so I could just put it on the streaming platforms. But what I learned, or what I realized while doing it, you get a lot more understanding once you start doing stuff. So I did this for this reason, and once I take the first step, I get more understanding. Once I take another step, I get more understanding. And now, by the end of it, I may have a completely different vision for what it is. Like, it started like this. It started as a seed, but as I kept walking and nurturing and working, actively pursuing whatever it is, it turned into what it was supposed to be. And I think that's why they say Never mind, I don't know what they be saying.
Yeah, I think that's why they say the saying is nobody be saying that. I don't know what they be saying. I don't know what they're talking about.
I had a saying until
it was time.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that was good.
That's funny. You know they say it just be me. I'll be the one saying it.
Oh man, yeah. I definitely. I feel that I lost my thought because I started laughing. Your turn.
Yeah, but I think in terms of just in general the game that we're playing, like I think another part of it is like if you don't enjoy the game you're playing, you can always make some adjustments. You can make your own rules. You can do different things, and I don't think we realize how much influence we have over the game itself. Like the game is waiting for our input, it's waiting for us to do something. So like if you do something, especially if you do something that you genuinely want to do, right? It has a ripple effect and other people can see it. And sometimes people want to do, like they've been wanting to do something and you doing the thing that you're doing gives them permission to do something else.
Yeah, I was going to say that after you said we don't realize how much influence we have over the game, like over our game. And we also don't necessarily realize how much influence we have over other people's games as well. Especially like you were just saying, if you do something you love, people can see it, they can feel it, and it will have a completely different effect on them. You might not even ever know, but I guess when you get to a certain space mentally, spiritually, you actually know how much of effect that you have on people. Mm-hmm. And like you were saying, you don't really see stuff or get understanding until after. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing. Like with the influence that we have on other people, like we won't know until once we take a step back and like look like, oh wow, they doing this because I did this, or that's the first time I'm the first person that did that. Now everybody, I didn't even know y'all like this. Or like nobody might, like people may never give you your flowers, but I think that is why we are supposed to do the things that we enjoy, pursue the things that we enjoy, just so we can continue to do it even if we never get acknowledged. Something I was reading, it said a wise man knows to keep, I'm paraphrasing, a wise man knows that he may never get acknowledged for his greatness. Something along those lines. A wise man knows, or a wise man keeps going even though he may never get acknowledged for what he does. Something like that.
They be saying stuff.
Yeah, that's something somebody said. I think it might have been from
the B and Breeze original.
Way of the Superior Man, maybe.
That does sound like the Way of the Superior Man.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that what?
I was laughing
at him?
Yeah, the book, he said the Way of the Breeze, whatever you said.
I don't even know.
B and Breeze original.
B and Breeze original.
I was gonna say that I never thought about it like that. Of making sure that you're doing what you enjoy, because you, just in case like you don't get acknowledged. I think a lot of times we get so hung up on acknowledgments, and we've talked about this. I think a while ago on the podcast, where we were talking about like how it is important, or how we as artists love to get like the acknowledgement and stuff like that. But even just like sometimes they'll acknowledge it, but you might not even see that somebody acknowledged it. That's the other thing. Like you don't know how widespread your influence might be, where it might reach somebody that you don't know exists, but they might be telling people like, hey, yeah, I was influenced by B and Breeze, or Damani did this thing, and then, you know, I read some stuff. He said to read these books. Or, you know, I heard him say this line and I was just like, oh, I'm about to use that. Or, you know, like different things. And I think that it is important that we're doing things that we enjoy, because a lot of times the game that we choose to play is one of the game. It's like a game where we don't make time for the things that we enjoy. Or sometimes it's because people are like, oh, well, you know, they tell you don't have time for it, you decide you don't have time for it, or like you're just like, well, that's not important. But it is important to do the stuff that you enjoy, because you want to enjoy your life. Like, we say this all the time, life is meant to be lived. It's not meant to be stuck in a box or miserable or anything like that. It's supposed to be enjoyed. So when you allow yourself to start enjoying things, even if it's something as small as like you get to enjoy your favorite sandwich, or you treat yourself to some plant-based pizza because I want some plant-based pizza. You know, it's just like allowing yourself to enjoy something. But I think that we look at it as a small part of life and a small part of the game when it's actually a huge part of it. Because a lot of times the more, I guess, kind that you treat yourself, or the kinder that you treat yourself. Why do the sentences sound weird today? The more kind that you are to yourself, I think that life is more kind to you as well. So that's one of those things that you also see in your game. Like the input of being kind to yourself and being kind to others. And then you start to see, oh, okay, the universe is being kind to me too. I'm starting to see more things that I enjoy, more things that I like. I'm starting to see more opportunities. I'm starting to see more abundance in different ways. I'm starting to see like more of what I like. And I think it really starts to shift your perspective when you start to treat yourself with kindness.
I think that is because, well, the main reason I think life is more kind to us when we're kind to ourselves is because everything is one. Like, we literally connected to everything, and God is within us. So, and our body is the temple. So, if we taking care of ourselves mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and something you said earlier, you also have to watch what you consume. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So whatever we're taking in, it has an effect on us. So, if we're taking care of us, we're taking care of the temple mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and making sure the God in us is okay, secure, then I feel like since we're connected to everything, we're also treating the world and the universe and one mm-hmm. another with that same type of kindness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's only a matter of time that it comes back to us, like from external forces.
Yeah. Life is a big echo chamber, I feel like.
Echo.
But until you make sound, nothing is happening.
Oh, that's good.
So you have to make a sound, and I think the one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that I was waiting for life to tell me what life means, and life is like, what does it mean to you? And I'm like, okay, you want me to this? Like, I have to make a decision about this? And it's like, and you really only get to decide in hindsight, but like me deciding what all of this means is the point. And it's mm-hmm. like, all right, if I decide this means something amazing, then yeah, it means something amazing, and it'll confirm that.
Was it that live that we was watching that they was talking about living from the past, present, and future? Yeah. That's why you gotta live from your future, because mm-hmm. it dictates. Like, if you live from your future, your present looks different because you're
let your future determine your present. Because mm-hmm. then you'll make your present decisions based on your future. Whereas a lot of times, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, you explained it a lot better.
A lot of times, what they were saying, and we were watching him, Myron Golden and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And they were talking about basically a lot of times we live our life from our past. So like we allow our past to determine our present. And when we make decisions based off of what our past was, a lot of times we don't wind up going to our present doesn't look how we want it to look, because there may be things in our past that maybe we didn't heal from, or maybe certain situations that we need to redefine. That's a part of the game, right? Like reframing how certain situations impacted us. So maybe you cussed me out.
Okay.
Maybe you cussed me out 2 years ago.
Tell me more.
Maybe you cussed me out.
I can't stand your name.
Maybe remember you cussed me out 2 years ago, right?
What did you do? I'm playing. Go ahead.
And for me, that experience was like, from the air, I'm like, maybe it caused me to look at myself as like a terrible person or something like that. So then I'm making decisions based off of what I did in the past. Okay, I'm making decisions based off of the idea that I'm a terrible person because he cussed me out for no reason. So I must have been a terrible person. So then my present reflects that. Versus if I'm my future, the future that I desire is that I'm my highest self, right? So if I'm looking at my future self, let's say my future self lives in a mansion, my future self is a wonderful person, is kind to people, all of that stuff, does not randomly get cussed out by Damani. If that's my future, what I want to do is make the decisions that would lead me to that. Like, what decisions that I make today are going to get me into that mansion tomorrow? Like, what decisions that I make today are gonna get me to be that kind person to everybody that I see. And also redefining what it meant, what the past moment meant, so that I'm not harping on it and making those decisions based off of that. Maybe instead of looking at it like I was a terrible person, maybe I'm looking at it as, oh, that moment I needed as a lesson to remind me that I need to be kinder to people. If I didn't have that moment, I wouldn't be the kind person that I am today. And then making decisions based off of my future, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. Meaning is always defined in past tense. You can't really define meaning in the moment because you don't have enough information to define the moment yet. You know, like
you're in the moment.
Yeah, like if we're sticking with the you getting cussed out, right? In the moment, you like, I'm getting cussed out. Why? Like, you don't know why it's necessarily happening. You don't know if it's a good thing. You don't know if it's a bad thing because you don't have enough information to decide whether it is or not. So the time passing lets you decide whether or not this old thing, what this old thing means. And so it's like when we're doing whatever we're doing, I think it's important for us to like not necessarily worry about what it means in this moment because we don't have enough information to decide what this means yet. So it's like go through the experience and then you're like, all right, cool. Now that I'm looking at it from where I'm looking at it, that meant I needed to be more patient, or that meant I needed to work on how I communicate or whatever it is. So yeah, I think meaning is typically made in past tense, but like you should still live from your future because that's where you're aiming to be.
Right.
And I feel like you can only really live from your future when you choose your future. So when you choose where you want to go, what you want to be doing, how this looks, that I feel like that's really the only way you can really live from your future. Because if you don't know where you're going, all you have to, like, the only information you have is the past, what you've been through, where you was at, and where you are in this very moment. So, yeah, if you don't have any direction, it's almost impossible to live from your future.
Right.
Yeah. And it's wild because as much as we like to think we have great memory, as soon as the memory happens, we change parts of the memory. So it's like, if you wanted to go based off of your past experience, like just off your past experience, it's like, it's not even really the truth because there's parts of it that you alter because like, all right, that was embarrassing, but maybe it wasn't that embarrassing. In the time, it was that embarrassing or whatever. Like maybe I was rude. I wasn't that rude. It's like, no, you were, right? But I think in the past, we kind of like, we alter it a little bit. So like, I think it's a lot better to do it for the future because it's like, one, it hasn't happened yet, so you're a lot more open. And then two, I forget what my second point was, but yeah, it's just better to do it for the future than the past. Yeah, that's just what I would say.
Yeah, but you do have to you got to make the decision. I feel like now that I made a decision, or even if you allow yourself to like visualize and decide what you want, and I feel like we're starting to get into a different book, but if you start to take the time to decide what you actually want in life, like what do you want in life, what do you want to get out of life, where do you want to go type of thing, then you can actually make those decisions now that will get you there. And it's not always easy, but like you were saying, as you take the first step toward it, the next step will be revealed. Like you'll start to see more of like what makes sense, or even what the next step is, and you'll get more information. So I think that that's definitely important. But in all, you have to decide what game you want to play in the overall game of life. Do y'all have any final thoughts on the game of life, the book, The Game of Life, and how to play it? We'll link that below for you guys. Making decisions, anything at all.
Nah, just choose the game you want to play. And
Word.
have fun playing.
Word.
The choice is yours.
It's up to you. Y'all get that later. All right. Thank y'all for joining us for another episode of the Grae Area Podcast.
Yeah.
I'm Shakoya D.
Bottom, I'm Breezington Ear.
It's your boy Damani.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also, if you want to catch this podcast live and early, don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon for the low price of $3 a month. You can, like I said, watch this podcast live and early, watch Love the Creative Black Woman, and also join in on some other stuff we got coming for y'all. We will see y'all next week. Woo!
Adios.
Stay blessed, stay black, people.
You say what? Know yourself. Know your worth. Jukebox, hit me with another jam.
Get on my face. Get on my motherfucking face.
Please. Push the goddamn button.